you know. Where were you 1 year
A year
ago?
I was, we were just fresh off the DOI hearings. So that was actually real empowering to come up and to see our people activated like that. And to see the ripple effects of that activation. And then all the issues start getting, its attention and its aloha. So, I was fired up a year ago. I was fired up a few years ago, and Uncle Abel got evicted, and we did Kanaka Garden and stuff. But I think all of that momentum and the lessons we've been learning, it's built up into this. At least for me, yeah, that momentum has brought me here to the Mauna to stand for everything, for all of our aina, for all of our people, for all of our akua. And I think it's not so much the timing of it. Yeah, it's everybody has their own timing. Everybody has their own journey. But we're all starting to go off everywhere right now, and it's good to feel that awakening, that arising.
So I just graduated high school.
Wow.
And
Perfect.
yeah, I didn't know what I was gonna do, and I still don't really know what I'm gonna do. I don't really plan my life farther than like a month or two ahead. I just don't really know what's happening. But I was still just so young, and I was just looking for a truth in life. And I was just trying. I was still just uncovering, realizing that so many things are fake, so many things are being done behind shadows, like things working against the people who are trying to grow up, and I was just trying to listen to find or hear anything that would like tell me to go in the right direction. And for me it wasn't, and this is just for me, it wasn't going off. It was staying here on my moku, and then a couple months later I started to learn about all of these things, and then I just flew up over here. But before that, I was like trying to work in lo'is and stuff because that's like what I wanted to do. But I specifically didn't know I was gonna be on Mauna Kea, but I was just trying to do and looking for a path that would lead me into standing in for something that I actually believed in,
Okay, maybe the question should have been, where were you like 2-3 years ago? Or because we wasn't talking openly about the occupation. That was like something that we all kind of kept, well, a lot of people kept to themselves. They didn't really have conversations.
Those fractions were a lot more defined. There wasn't the communication that we had, just a few years ago, with social media and with using those things as tools for our lahui to regain consciousness, and to activate each other and to spread that awareness into each and every community across the whole Pahaina, across the whole Honua. So where were we? We were probably concentrated on our individual struggles or in our individual movements and capacities, working on Aloha Aina. I truly believe that, the occupation, and I think we needed to hear it from each other for it to feel real. And it's not just, us guys talking amongst ourselves in our communities or trying to convince everybody else what we know is the fact, what we know is the truth, what we see every day in our, in our communities, and the repercussions and the long, deep-seated, deep-rooted effects of colonization, of occupation, of settler colonialism here in our homelands. So it's been a progressive movement, I believe. We've gotten now to the point where we can help each other out. But it's all so simple. Yeah, it's all so simple. It's just getting back to the aina, wherever that may be, wherever it needs that attention, that aloha.
So like off of this oha thing with the Aupuni and all of these things that the DOI trying to force on us, even yesterday stuff just came out that they're really going to try and push us through to Fedwreck.
Right, the DOI.
Right, and what do you tell those guys that they don't know what we know, what you know, and they think that Aupuni and Oha is doing right by us. Well, how would you encourage them, or would you even encourage them to, what would you say to somebody who believes that that's the way to go?
Well, because I can talk on that because my papa just asked me, oh, you should go sign up. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, don't you just sign up because you're Hawaiian? And I'm like, no, and that's for us. Like Law said, we needed people to start talking about it for it to be real. Like the school I went to, that whole thing was irrelevant to my life. So I was like, and it's not only for me, because this is people everywhere, people in Oahu, people in Maui, where, when you look around, there's nothing left of Hawaii that used to be there, that our kupuna had, that our kupuna cultivated. It's buildings, it's their systems, it's their schooling. And so it's easy not to be Hawaiian because you're not, when you look out, you don't see Hawaii, you see what they put in front of you, and you're left inside this box. And when no one talks about it, it's not real. It's because I knew, I never grew up thinking America was my country. I never grew up thinking that that's where I belonged. But when it's not around you, you know that, but it's like a fairy tale kind of, It's like for us to imagine like what this place was 200 years ago. That's not even a reality. That's not tangible, So when it's not spoken about, that's like something, like I know I'm not ever gonna be able to see that, So that's when I die, I can only wish that people after me can have that. So you need that reality pushed onto you and spoken about, because my papa, and that's their generation and our generation are still going through that thing where they don't know really what's real because no one's talking about it. And I just hope that those people can actually speak and look, and decide really, why would we settle for that when we had a kingdom? Why would we educate our kids in the way where their systems are making them corrupt, I kind of, and even for me, I have still so much to read, still so much to learn about, but we all do, and I just hope that, we don't settle for anything. Really, we don't settle for anything. Because it's never done. We're not the generation that's going to fix this. Our kids probably are not going to be the generation that fix this, But we should never settle till all of these monies are trees or like trunks growing where our akua actually want to come back and be in here. This is their playground, We didn't come up here because it was already taken care of, because this was a place where the gods hung out, not us, And can we call this worthy for our gods right now? We're not there yet, really.
Thank you. That was awesome.
I think, our people are all about mo'okuohau, about genealogy. So, in regards to kana'i Aupuni or kana'i Olovalu or the Kauinoa or whatever that genealogy is, I think people need to understand it. They need to know where these not movements, but
Agencies.
where do these agencies come from? Where do these attempts
Those are like customs.
Unify us, or to speak on our behalfs, to manufacture consent from our people, to run us down and cattle, and to round us into the cattle guards and into the pens. So I think if we just look at our genealogies, where those genealogies come from, where our own genealogies come from, that's where the answer is, right? What we're doing here on the Mauna is ho'olulahui, is trying to unify our people, is trying to make our people self-determined, for them to take their own lives into their own hands and to express their sovereignty and their mana and their power and their aloha over these lands and over these places that are so dear to us and to our cosmogony and our akua and our resource. So I really, I caution people who are signing up for that. If you have a plan to go in there and push for independence and to shut down, that usurpation and that, that same old freaking trying to sell you down the river, Fedwreck, that's fine. More power to you guys and Onipa'a. Hope you guys have a good plan and you can take over. And I kako all of that 100%.
Right.
Independence is the only way, right? I mean, we were a sovereign nation, recognized by how many countries around the world. So you can't undo that. And we're always going to have the pilikia that comes with this genealogy of trying to sell us out for something that we aren't.
I think like just the fact that OHA can't even say that they don't support TMT is kind of like, if it's still coming from that place, how is that going anywhere forward for our people, Like, I don't understand how anything like created out of that is actually fully gonna support our lahui. Like, I went to the OHA meetings, and I cried just to, like, as a young Hawaiian, to go into an entity or whatever they're supposed to be for Hawaiian people and have a room full of them testify and say, we're against this, against a certain thing, and just
be able to back it up.
and just decide, we actually know what's better for the lahui, so it's not what all of you guys said, it's just what us five said because we're the majority. It's that hurts. And I don't understand how our generation now can, follow behind anything in front of us when that's the example. And then that's when you realize, this is a grassroots thing. This has got to come from us, from inside, and we got to be willing to make our own thing. We got to be willing to govern our own people, not in that system, not in that way, because it's not working.
There can never truly be self-determination if it comes from the de facto state of Hawaii. It comes from any agency that purports to, benefit our people or whatever it is that all does. And they do a lot of great stuff. But it can never truly be self-determination, period. So, maybe you want to go through the process and set things up, but really it's going to have to come from the people. Be self-determined. Come to the Mauna, stand for your Mauna, stand for your vahikapu, fix your fish pond, plant your lo'is, plant your food forests, bring back the iliahis, stop desecration, hui up with your communities, feed your people, love your people, that's self-determination. If we can't have an organic process to vote, to aha kiole, aha moku system, whatever it might be, LHG's system, these are more organic from the people processes that we have to be a part of and engage. We can't keep going along with the money, and the fancy graphics and the nice t-shirts. We appreciate what they do, and maybe we can use those resources one day for the right cause, but if it's not for independence and if it's not for our aina, then it's not ever going to work. We're always going to be fighting the Hawaiians. Always. That's what Aloha Aina is about. That's our kuleana. Aloha Aina oia i'o.
Right.
And I think we're just trying now, because as a people we don't face the same problems the ones who came before us did and the ones who come after us will. So it's trying to find all those ins, all those open spaces, those weak spots where we can like press and push and hit, and trying to find a new way to channel that whole idea of Aloha Aina, and trying to figure out how it works for our people now, and trying to educate our people now, and still trying to continue that process,
I just want to say one more thing.
Sure. And you got it. It's about to die. So good.
So this week is Ho'okuikahi at Pu'ukohola. It's a symbolic time where we should all be unifying. A lot of these fronts are coming down the pipeline, but something that Kumu Ka'aipono really hit close to home when he mentioned this, but it's about being good representatives of our kupuna, of our kumu. So that's really what we have to do is be our kumus and strive to be and live the teachings that they taught us, our kupuna, our omakua, our akua. And so, nana ike kumu, really. And so I just want to thank all of my kumu and all the kumu that come into my life every single day. And I try to be good extensions of you folks, but that's really what this is all about. So mahalo nui to all the kumus out there.